The concepts of control and ownership are fundamental to our understanding of property rights. While often used interchangeably, they represent distinct legal concepts. Ownership, traditionally viewed as the ultimate right in property, signifies a bundle of rights, including the right to possess, use, exclude others from, and dispose of property. Control, however, focuses on the practical exercise of power over a thing. It's about who makes decisions and benefits from the use of an asset, even without holding formal ownership. The law increasingly recognizes that control, independent of ownership, can be a source of rights and obligations. This distinction is particularly relevant in contract law, where agreements often grant one party control over an asset owned by another. This shift signifies a move towards a more nuanced understanding of property relations, recognizing the practical realities of how assets are used and managed in a complex world. A landmark case highlighting this distinction is Burnett v. Smith from 1922. This case involved a dispute over the ownership and control of a property after a contract for sale went awry. The court's decision emphasized the importance of control, recognizing that the party exercising practical control over the property could hold certain rights and responsibilities, even without formal ownership. This distinction between control and ownership has significant implications for various legal domains, including commercial transactions, intellectual property rights, and even personal property. Understanding this distinction is crucial for navigating the complexities of property law in the 21st century and beyond. The concept of control in property rights finds its roots in various philosophical traditions. These traditions have evolved over centuries, reflecting the changing dynamics of society and the economy. Classical theories of property, such as those of John Locke, primarily focused on the individual's right to acquire and possess property through labor and occupation. Locke's philosophy emphasized that property ownership was a natural right derived from one's labor, a concept that resonated deeply during the Enlightenment period. Ownership was paramount, seen as an extension of oneself. This notion of property as an extension of personal liberty and identity laid the groundwork for modern property laws. However, as societies evolved and economic systems became more complex, the limitations of a purely ownership-centric view became apparent. The rise of urbanization and the development of financial markets introduced new dimensions to property rights. The rise of industrial capitalism, with its emphasis on production and the use of assets, brought the concept of control to the forefront. Factories and large-scale enterprises required a different approach to managing resources, one that often separated ownership from control. Thinkers like Jeremy Bentham argued for a more utilitarian approach, emphasizing the greatest happiness for the greatest number. Bentham's ideas suggested that the utility of property should be measured by its ability to contribute to overall societal well-being. This approach recognized that maximizing societal benefits sometimes required separating ownership from control, allowing for more efficient resource allocation. By focusing on the utility of property rather than just its ownership, resources could be managed in a way that benefited more people. This shift towards recognizing the importance of controlling property rights also raised ethical and economic considerations. The balance between individual rights and collective good became a central theme in these discussions. For instance, should someone who controls a resource even without owning it be held responsible for its impact on others? This question becomes particularly relevant in the context of environmental stewardship and corporate responsibility. Should they be entitled to a share of the profits generated by the resource? The debate extends to the distribution of wealth and the fairness of economic systems. These questions highlight the ethical complexities of control and ownership, issues that continue to be debated in legal and philosophical circles. The interplay between control and ownership remains a dynamic and evolving field of study. The increasing recognition of control in property rights represents a move towards a more nuanced and pragmatic approach. This approach seeks to balance individual rights with the needs of the community, aiming for a more equitable distribution of resources. This approach acknowledges the social and economic realities of a complex world, where control often plays a more significant role than formal ownership in determining the use and distribution of resources. As we continue to navigate these complexities, the philosophical underpinnings of control in property rights will remain a crucial area of exploration and debate. The case of Burnett v. Smith from 1922 serves as a pivotal moment in the legal recognition of control as a distinct concept from ownership. This landmark case has been studied extensively in law schools and cited in numerous legal arguments, illustrating its enduring impact on property law. This case involved a contractual dispute over a piece of land in Michigan. The land in question was a valuable piece of farmland which both parties saw as a significant asset for their respective futures. The seller, Burnett, had entered into an agreement to sell the land to Smith. The agreement was detailed, outlining the terms of the sale, the price, and the conditions under which the land would be transferred. However, before the sale was finalized, a disagreement arose, and Burnett refused to transfer the deed. The disagreement centered around the interpretation of certain clauses in the contract, leading to a standoff between the two parties. Despite not having legal title to the land, Smith had taken possession of the property, made improvements, and even leased portions of it to tenants. Smith's actions demonstrated his commitment to the land and his belief that the contract was valid and enforceable. This act of exercising dominion and control over the land became a central point of contention in the case. Smith's improvements and leasing activities were seen as acts of control, which he argued gave him certain rights to the property. The court ultimately ruled in favor of Smith, recognizing that his actions demonstrated a level of control that conferred certain rights, even in the absence of formal ownership. This decision was groundbreaking as it acknowledged that control could be as significant as ownership in certain legal contexts. The Burnett v. Smith case is significant for several reasons. It not only clarified the distinction between control and ownership, but also set a precedent for future cases involving similar disputes. Firstly, it highlights the importance of control in determining property rights. Control, as demonstrated by Smith's actions, can influence legal decisions and outcomes in property disputes. The court's decision emphasized that merely holding title to property is not enough. The ability to exercise control, to make decisions about the use and enjoyment of an asset, carries its own legal weight. This principle has been applied in various legal contexts, influencing how property rights are interpreted and enforced. Secondly, this case demonstrates the evolving nature of property law. Over time, the legal system adapts to new challenges and realities, and Burnett v. Smith is a prime example of this evolution. As societal and economic realities shift, so too does the law's understanding of concepts like ownership and control. The case reflects how legal interpretations can change to address new circumstances and ensure justice is served. The legacy of Burnett v. Smith continues to shape how we approach contractual relationships and property rights today. Its principles are still relevant, guiding legal professionals in their practice and influencing court decisions. It serves as a reminder that control, independent of ownership, can be a source of legal rights and obligations, adding another layer of complexity to the already intricate field of property law. This case underscores the importance of understanding both historical and contemporary legal principles to navigate the complexities of property rights effectively. The principle of control finds practical applications across various areas of law. This concept is not just a theoretical construct, but a practical tool that shapes legal relationships and outcomes in significant ways. In commercial law, for instance, lease agreements often grant the lessee significant control over a leased asset despite not owning it. This control is crucial for the lessee to effectively utilize the asset for their business operations. This control allows the lessee to utilize the asset for business purposes, generate revenue, and even make modifications, all while the lessor retains ownership. The ability to make modifications can be particularly important for businesses that need to tailor the space to their specific needs. This separation of control and ownership facilitates economic activity, allowing businesses to access and utilize assets without the burdens of full ownership. It enables businesses to be more flexible and responsive to market demands. In the realm of intellectual property, control plays a crucial role in determining the scope of rights associated with patents, copyrights, and trademarks. These rights are essential for protecting the interests of creators and innovators. While the creator may hold legal ownership of the intellectual property, licensing agreements often grant others control over its use and distribution. This can lead to mutually beneficial arrangements where the creator benefits financially while others can leverage the intellectual property for various purposes. This allows for wider dissemination of the protected work, fostering innovation and creativity while ensuring the rights holder retains a level of control over their creation. It also helps in spreading new ideas and technologies more rapidly across different sectors. Even in the context of personal property, the concept of control holds relevance. Personal property law often involves situations where control and ownership are distinct. Consider the case of a bailment, where one party temporarily entrusts their property to another. This arrangement is common in everyday transactions, such as leaving your car with a valet or storing goods in a warehouse. The bailee, while not the owner, exercises a degree of control over the property during the bailment period. This control comes with specific responsibilities and duties. As the bailee is expected to exercise reasonable care over the bailed property. Failure to do so can result in legal consequences for the bailee. These examples highlight the pervasive influence of control in shaping legal relationships and outcomes. Control is a fundamental aspect that underpins many legal doctrines and practices. Understanding how the principle of control operates in these diverse contexts is essential for navigating the complexities of modern legal systems and ensuring fairness in contractual arrangements. It provides a framework for analyzing and resolving legal issues in a coherent and consistent manner.